Hey everybody, it's Kevin Strosnider here, coming to you live from our grand studios at 5200 Oaklawn Boulevard in North Prince George. It is our 15th episode of Community Driven, and I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Herman Maclin. Herman, thank you so much for being here today.
All right,
appreciate
thank you
very
me.
much.
Yes,
I'm
indeed.
really excited to bring Herman to you, or to our community, our followers. Herman, he's going to tell us all about being an extension agent and 4-H and dealing with that over many years, I'm assuming, many years, and excited to hear about all that and what that does for the community. So thank you again for being here, and just if you would start off, tell us a little bit about your history here in this area and what you do as an extension agent.
All right, well, I came to Prince George in 2003 as a 4-H agent, but I was an agent in Sussex County before that, starting in 2001. And if you want to backtrack even further than that, in the 70s, I was the 4-H coordinator in Petersburg.
Oh, wow.
And I also worked in Southampton County, where we had with 4-H down there with the Extension Service in 1973. So I've been around for a while.
Been around for a minute.
And my dad was a 4-H agent in Brunswick County, where I grew up. And so I grew up in 4-H. I had to show hogs in the fair and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
4-H was basically all agriculture back then.
Okay.
You know, and so when I as I was growing up, we started a band called Trussell at Virginia State University.
Okay.
So much to my father's dismay, my interest shifted from wanting to be an extension agent to wanting to be a rock star.
That's funny.
And so my first job with Extension, I got the opportunity to back up Evelyn Champagne King. So quit that job in Petersburg, went on the road with Evelyn Champagne King.
Oh my goodness.
And of course Dad was like, "You're not going to quit your good job and go on the road with the band." So that was the end of my stay at Petersburg. And when we finished with her about a year or two later, came back to Extension, worked for a little while, and of course the big issue was, "Hey, you're not going to quit on us again, are you?" "Oh, no, I'm all done with the band and everything." And sure enough, the same people that put out Evelyn Champagne King on RCA hooked us up with Electra Asylum Records, and we put out an album on Electra Asylum Records, believe it or not. There was a big hit all over the world. So there I go again.
Wow.
You're not going to quit your good job and go on. But it lasted. We had a good time. We played with a lot of big stars, you know, and
that is neat.
Earth, Wind and Fire, Cameo, SOS Band, all those R&B groups that were out back in, you know, George Clinton and Funkadelic and all them.
Well, man, I didn't know I was bringing a rock star to the show today. I thought we were talking about 4-H.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, give me kind of a background so you'll kind of know how I got to where I am in 4-H.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when actually, I feel kind of at home here because, and I don't know, can I say Colonial Honda on here? Or,
that's all right. Yeah, we can say that.
I worked for Colonial Honda for about 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And was big, you know, one of the top salesmen when they were here in Petersburg.
Really? That's awesome.
And right about the end of my 5th year, when things were dying down, they were getting ready to transition to another location. My cousin, who was a big shot at Virginia Tech, called me up and said, "Hey, Herm, there's some 4-H jobs open. Why don't you apply for one?" I said, "Man, I quit twice." He said, "Man, don't worry about that. All those folks are dead and gone or retired." He said, I think you got a shot." So I got the job in 2001 in Sussex County. And then when the agent, we had a big cutback in economics, and the agent in Prince George left. And Prince George said, "We don't want anybody part-time. We need a full-time agent. We love 4-H. We want to keep the program going. Y'all need to give us a full-time agent." So they told me I need to transfer from Sussex and come up here
to Prince George. That's
and
awesome.
I didn't want to do it. And got, you know, reluctantly I came, and because I liked Sussex County.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like small town, like Lawrenceville,
absolutely.
where I grew up.
Yes, sir.
And when I came here, it was when I interviewed with Bill Gandil, who was on the board of supervisors there.
Yes, yep. Bill Candle's a good
Somehow,
customer of ours.
just like now, we got to talking because I played bass with the Showman, the old beach music group, and he's a big fan. In fact, he teaches ballroom dancing and
Yeah,
shagging
I heard
and
that.
all that
I've
stuff.
heard that. Yes.
And so when I mentioned the Showman, he said, "You used to play with the Showman," and so we got off on that.
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, with my secretary at the office and different people in the county, they knew about my background. They said, "Why don't you do a talent show?" So we did a talent show, and then from the talent show, so why don't you start a program, music program for the kids that can't be in the band at school, they just sing or dance, but they're not able to get. So this was an outlet for those children.
Wow.
Then I started the Music Biz Club, and out of that grew a group of kids from not only Prince George but all the surrounding areas. So it encompassed Prince George, Matoka, Chesterfield, of course, Dinwiddie, Petersburg, had kids from somewhere everywhere. And then Kathleen Jameson from Virginia Tech came to me and said, "Hey, I've got a grant here from Adobe that would be perfect for your Music Biz Club. Y'all be making videos." So instantly I'm thinking, all right, music videos, great, this would be great. Well, come to find out, no, we don't want you to make music videos. They flew me out to California for the training. I stayed out there for a week with Adobe and found out that what they really wanted was for kids to have a voice and tell their stories and what's going on in their lives, what issues are they facing, and use this program for kids to not only express what's going on in their lives, but offer solutions.
Wow.
Through these videos. And
wow.
And they gave us an international platform to air these videos. And so the second opportunity I got to go to California, I had to take 2 kids with me, and they were military kids, and it kind of nailed down my relationship with Fort Gregg Adams. And with the youth center over there.
Okay.
And so those kids came from all different parts of the world because, they're military and they keep moving around. And we ended up doing a video with them, and they decided they were going to do something about being different because it was such a big deal for kids to be like everybody. You had to fit in. Everybody wears the same shoes, same clothes, everything.
Absolutely.
And if you don't fit in, then you're kind of outcast, and the kids don't want to have anything to do with you. And so they said, it's really not bad being different. And we spent about 6 weeks developing the idea for this video about how they can be different. And so as a result, they put together a video about the advantages of being different because they had a chance to tell their stories to each other and found out the impact with them was that they said they found out more about each other. One was suffering from depression, and nobody even knew that. And one had nerve damage, and then there was a child that could hear a little but not much, but he wanted to dance. So he danced. We gave him a chance to dance on the video. He could feel the music if you played it loud enough and dance to the beat. So long story short, we ended up calling them the Different Kids. We won the award for, they gave it to me, but I say we won it. We won the award. I got the award for Creative Educator of the Year. They picked 50 people from 30 countries around the world.
No way.
And I was like, no way in the world I'm going to get this, but I put my name in the hat. And I got one of the 50 awards for Creative Educator of the Year. And that's why I always have to take my hat off to the kids at Fort Gregg Adams at the youth center because they put me on the map.
That is neat.
Every time I mention the Different Kids, everybody's like, wow, that's really great.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and so that's what came out of that. But The big thing for the county is 4-H camp.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody loves 4-H camp.
Now tell us, so before we get into 4-H camp, because I know that's big. I do, we have a lot of friends in the area that do 4-H camp and all that. So before we get into that, well, first off, let me say, man, I had no idea we had this this hidden treasure here of Mr. Hermon Maclin and right here in Prince George. That's awesome. Tell us about kind of the history of 4-H and what is 4-H? What does it stand for? What does it mean in the community? And then we'll get into some of the programs and stuff.
Yeah, well, 4-H is the informal education faction of the two land-grant universities,
Okay.
Virginia Tech and Virginia State.
Okay.
Just about every state in the nation has two land-grant universities.
I did not know that. Okay.
And they're dedicated to one of the missions of the land-grant university is to educate the public,
Okay.
the people that aren't in college, through informal informal education workshops and programs in the community. And so that was the mission of the land grant. And so, boy, I don't get me to guessing, but back in the early 1900s, one of the guys from one of the land grants decided to go out and start these 4-H clubs because they thought that the children could influence, if we could somehow show the general public that this research they're doing at the land-grant universities is beneficial, then they'll grab a hold of it. They tried, just going to the farmers and saying, hey, if you do this with your corn, you'll get twice as much yield.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been farming. My dad's been farming. This is a family farm. You can't tell me how to grow corn.
Yeah,
You college boys have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what they did, they went into the community and they started the tomato clubs for the girls and the corn clubs for boys.
Okay.
And they, I remember this picture where they had this huge pile of corn and this little pile of corn, and they showed what the kids' field had produced versus what the farmer's field had produced.
No way.
And that's how it caught on.
Oh,
and
wow.
from that, they decided, well, we'll put the boys and girls together and call it 4-H. And the 4-H is stand for head, heart, hands, and health.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so the easiest way to explain it, from the pledge, I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
That's great.
And so that's pretty much the mission in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And we try to put caring adults, which are our volunteers, with the children. So it's a program, it's really for adults and children. Both of them have a chance to learn because we have to train the adults to teach the program.
Yeah.
And then the children get the benefit, and then the real benefit is adults and children working together to improve the lives of the children, make them more, give them a better chance at success.
Okay. That's awesome. I've never heard, I've heard of 4-H my entire life, but I didn't know what the 4-H's were and the kind of that mission and vision behind it. That's really, really neat.
And so that's kind of how that's how 4-H got started, in an effort to show these farmers that the stuff that they're telling them from the research that they're doing at the two universities, Virginia Tech and Virginia State, was really valid.
Yeah.
They had to show them somehow, and so that's how they did it, through the kids.
Through the kids. That's amazing.
And now 4-H is all over, not only all over America, but it's in countries all over the world.
Okay.
We have,
I didn't know that.
yeah, we do programs year-round in Senegal and Japan. We have a different exchange program where the kids come from Japan over here, and our kids go over there and they stay for 6 months, sometimes 12 months. And it's a good program, but 4-H is the largest youth organization in the world.
I did not know that.
And
wow,
mind you, 4-H is one of those things where you don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
For example, the different kids that did the video, well, that's all for some of them, that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them do the video, they go to camp, they go to Virginia Tech for our 4-H Congress, which is a week-long thing for teenagers at camp at Virginia Tech. But it's one of those things where if you do at least 6 hours with us of some type of program, then you're an official 4-H member.
Okay.
So you might show your hogs, raise hogs and show them at the fair, or you might do fashion review where you made your own outfit and modeled it in one of our competitions.
Oh, okay.
But that's all you did.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Boy Scouts or the Scouts, for example, where you go to meetings every, but we do have community clubs where they do meet once a month, and you do that year round.
Yeah.
But there are members that just do one thing. Excuse me. And there are members that in the schools where we have school programs. So if I do environmental education at Moore Middle School, for example, then all of the 6th grade students are members of 4-H.
Okay.
Because they're doing this program in the school, and it takes up at least 6 hours, so now they're official members.
Oh, wow.
So now you have, 300 or 400 kids enrolled at Moore Middle School. So that's what gives us the big numbers.
I got you.
But it's still one of the greatest programs.
Yeah.
I love 4-H and Bleed Green.
Yeah. It sounds like it for sure. So now y'all do things within the public schools, but you also do homeschool events as well, correct?
Yeah, we have homeschool groups that have, what we do is I give the curriculum to the parents, and they'll use 4-H in their homeschool program.
Okay, yeah. Now, where are you based out of in Prince George? Like, is your
right at the courthouse complex?
You're at the courthouse complex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our office is right in Scott Park.
Okay, yeah. Do you actually do programs there, or do you travel around and do what's?
Yeah, the office is basically just a home base where we keep all our stuff because it's in the community.
Yeah.
I'll use the recreation department or the school or Airfield 4-H Center, which is down in Wakefield.
I know exactly where you're at. Is it that white building at the parking lot in Scott Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Yes.
It's a trailer. Actually.
Yeah, it's a trailer. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if it was a building or if it was a trailer. But yeah. Okay. I know exactly where you are.
Right behind the field.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Baseball field.
Okay. All right. So, this is really neat. I know a little bit about 4-H, but didn't know a whole lot. But I do know that 4-H camps in this area are huge. That there's a lot of people that go and do the 4-H camps. Tell us about the 4-H camp.
Yeah, the 4-H camp is a week-long overnight camp. They come in on Monday morning and leave on Friday morning.
Okay.
And we have classes during the day from, say, 9 to 12. We have classes. They have lunch. Then they will have a little free time in the afternoon to swim, play basketball, or what they call Gaga, which is kind of a
Gaga ball. That's a big one.
Never heard of that.
Yep, that's my kids do that. Yep,
Gaga.
they do.
Boy, they really get into it.
Oh, they do.
They really do. And then in the evening we might have either say free swim, or watermelon feast, or a dance, a talent show, all during the week. So we have something going on from early in the morning till late at night.
Where is it located? Where do y'all do?
The camp is in Wakefield, Airfield 4-H Center.
Okay.
It's about maybe 40 minutes straight down 416.
I think I've seen signs for that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when you get to the town of Wakefield, you take a right and it's about 5 miles back in the woods. And it's on a beautiful lake, Airfield Lake, I think is what it's called. We have canoeing, riflery, theatrical arts, or robotics. I'm trying to think of some of the other classes, leathercraft, cooking. We try to have about maybe 10 or 15 classes that kids have to choose from. And so a child would, the campers are age 9 to 13. And the campers have opportunity to choose 3 classes.
Okay.
And so they will take the same 3 classes each day.
Each day, the entire week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of them have been coming to camp since they were 9 years old, and they've come every year. And some of them even go, and Airfield serves 15, I think it's 15 or 16 counties and cities in this area. So Prince George is one of the few that has so many kids that we get our own week by ourselves.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of them camped in clusters,
I got
2 or
you.
3 counties together, or 2 or 3 a county and city together. And
so how many weeks
so it's
go through the year?
From I think about the second week of June, from time school closes, to the second week of August.
Really?
So it's a different group there every week,
Really?
all through the summer.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea it was that much.
Yeah, and
Wow.
so that, some kids, I've had children that go 3 or 4 times with different weeks.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
go with Prince George, they'll go with Sussex, they'll go with Petersburg, or they'll go
Yeah.
with Portsmouth. And the counselors are 14 to 19.
Okay.
And they're basically working as volunteers. So in every room, if you can imagine, is 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 4 sets of bunk beds, 2 counselors, usually a counselor and a counselor in training, so that that child that's almost old enough to be a counselor
Gotcha.
can have a chance to shadow a counselor.
I
So
gotcha.
next year, he's a little more ready for the job.
Yeah.
And it's a big responsibility because you're in the room, the teenagers in the room with these 8 kids, and that's their responsibility to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah,
They're their parents while their parents aren't there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you really find that out if something happens, because the parents hold them responsible. So you were in there and you let this happen.
Yeah.
So we make sure the counselors get what we call it 24 hours of training. But we take them through a training course to make sure that they are ready to do this job, because it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, that is a big responsibility.
And
absolutely.
I've had so many kids tell me that, hey, Mr. Maclin, that because of 4-H, I'm successful today.
That's awesome.
You know, even with the talent show, kids have said, I was scared to death to walk out there on that stage, but I think about what you told me and the things that we went through to get me to the point that I could walk out on that stage.
Yeah.
That's when I went to do my interview for my job, I was ready. I wasn't afraid to talk to that interview panel. Or when I got up to do my speech for my dissertation, give my dissertation, I went, thought back on those experiences I had with 4-H. And
that's amazing.
So
to be able to impact those lives is truly special. How many kids do you have come through the camp in the entire summer? What would you do? You
right
have an
now,
estimate?
it's about, but last year I think we had 221. The pandemic cut us back. We used to take about 325.
Oh, wow.
But that was because we also used what we call executive lodging.
Yeah.
But it's 2 double beds in each room.
Yeah.
Well, the girls didn't mind because they sleep over all the time. Boys sleep over too, but they're a little, a little. I found out that the girls do a lot better in those rooms.
Yeah.
And they bring their sleeping bags, or some of them would just climb in, throw the covers over them. But it was, after the pandemic, they said, no, that's a little too close.
Yeah.
Well, it's fine if parents don't mind them doing it, but so that cut me back to 221.
I got you.
But we're working hard to get Airfield some new dormitories, so we can maybe house at least 300.
So is that per week?
Per week.
Per week.
Yeah.
Now, how much are you filling up? How many weeks are filling? Is every week pretty much full?
No, we're still struggling. We've had a lot of turnover in the extension lately. So between the time that an agent leaves and we go through the hiring process, interview and all that, the program kind of fizzles out. Then the new person has to build it back up.
Yep.
So we're getting there, though.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
So how many students do you think you serve for the entire summer?
Oh man, we just had, I'm on the board
Uh-huh.
at Airfield. We just talked about that. I would say, okay, if we do, let's see, 10 weeks of camp, an average of maybe 100, 150, that's what about
1,000 to 1,500.
1,500
Yeah.
or more,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, somewhere between 1,500 2,000 kids for the summer or something like
Wow.
that.
That's amazing. That is really
But we have
amazing.
6 centers across the state.
Uh-huh.
So out of all of those 6 centers, it's up in the thousands of how many we serve. I should have brought that little
That's all right.
documentation,
That's
but
all right.
it's and I don't want to give you a number, but it's in the thousands because Skelton, for example, my buddy Brian Harrison in Henry County, he takes, I think, 450, 475,
Oh, wow.
something like that, because they have the room to house
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So some of the centers are bigger than Airfield,
Yeah,
and they house more.
yeah.
We have one in Jamestown, Wakefield, Skelton is up in Bedford, up in that area.
Okay. Yep.
Then we have one way out in Southwest Virginia, and up in Northern Virginia, in the mountains.
Okay. Wow.
And one out, Holiday Lake is out in the Cumberland
Yep.
area.
Absolutely.
Out
That area. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. That is so neat, Mr. Maclin. It's very interesting. Again, learn about you and about what you do and how you serve the kids and the families in this community. The future. I mean, really, that's really what it's about. It's about the future of our community and serving that. So thank you so much for doing that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
How long? So how long would you say you've been? How many years have you been in 4-H altogether?
Well, here recently, this will be from 2001 to now, so about 24, 25 years.
And then previously
It was back in the 77. I was maybe about five or 6 years during the 70s.
Okay.
that I did it.
So right around 30 years
Close to
that
it,
you've
yeah.
been in 4-H.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I grew up in 4-H. I remember I mentioned that.
Yeah,
My
you
dad
did.
was
Yeah,
the
your
agent.
dad was agent. Yeah.
So, and my sister was the agent in Martinsville.
Uh-huh.
So I have been a part of 4-H all my life.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's such a fun job. People keep asking me, when are you going to retire? 'Cause my birthday was over the weekend. I turned 73.
Oh, wow.
They said, you're not retired yet? I said, well, I'm enjoying what I do.
You know,
Why retire?
Why retire?
You know,
That's
I
right.
mean, we got people running the country are in their late 70s
Yeah,
and 80s.
yeah.
So a lot of the Congress, people
Yeah,
in Congress and in
yeah.
the Senate, they're in their 80s. So if they can run the country, I think I can run
4-H.
4-H.
And maybe a little better too.
Oh, man.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome, sir. Well, thank you so much for being here. I got a few more questions.
Okay.
Just 3 more questions, and then we'll kind of wrap things up here real quick. So, personally, I like to always try to better myself and grow as a person and find ways to improve me and so that I can help people around me. And a lot of ways I've found is through like reading. So is there a particular book that you have found that has been a impactful book in your life that you could share with our readers or our listeners?
Oh, man, that's a good one. We had, I can't think of the, doggone it. We had a reading book club.
Okay.
That we did during the pandemic. And, oh, man, I'm terrible with names.
That's all right.
But there was a young lady, well, she's older than I am now, but she wrote a book about her journey with the extension. She was with extension, and oh man, I can't think of the name of it. But it's a.
That's all right. Kind of put you on the spot there.
Yeah, but it's. I'm trying to think of the name of this book. Oh man, won't come to me. It's sitting on my coffee table right now because I try to share it with folks and say, man, this is a great story. But it was talking about how they grew up and how their ancestors were they're descendants of slaves, and what they went through in their family farm, and how they, made it through all those years, and the different things that they went through, and the successes, and how they got past the challenges in their life to become, this big successful farmers that they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was such a great story of how, they went from nothing and came up. Sort of like my grandfather's story that he started out with, he always says, I had $13. And he became, I've got the article from the newspaper, he became the most successful farmer in Brunswick County. He got that award.
Wow.
As one of the most successful farmers in Brunswick County. And that's what, that's what our family raised tobacco back in the day. That's what everybody did in Brunswick County.
Absolutely.
And so he had 7 children. They all had their own 8 pots of tobacco. And so we grew up in that environment. But he was, it kind of was in line with the same story of my grandfather.
Those stories of, I have found in just studying people who have been successful in life, it seems to be the people who are the most successful are the people who come from the least. Because, when you're given something, I think you don't work as hard for it, but when you have to go out and do the work yourself and put in the effort, there's something about it that just drives you more. And those people are absolutely amazing. The people who have nothing, like you said, your father $13 and became the most successful farmer in Brunswick County, which is an amazing story. Those people are truly an inspiration, and they seem to be more successful because they realize how much they had to sacrifice and do to get to where they are. So So let me ask you. Let's pretend you have got all of at least Prince George County. We'll say Prince George County. You got Prince George and your area around here. They're all looking at you, Herman Maclin, and you've got all their attention, and you've got 2 minutes to share some wisdom with this area. What would you say? What would you share with everybody in 2 minutes?
I would say surround yourself with good people. Never stop learning. Always, there's always something to learn. Never think you know it all.
Yes.
And listen to the children. It's working with children is one of the best things you can do because you end up learning from each other.
Yeah.
And don't be closed-minded, but be open-minded to the ideas that they have, and give it a shot.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And don't be so quick to say, oh, no, you can't do it like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, well, let's see. Tell me more. How do you think this might work?
Yeah.
And be open-minded, I think, would be the 2 minutes of wisdom. Open-minded and never stop learning.
There you go. That's great advice. Great advice. Last question, maybe the most important question. What's your favorite car?
Oh, man.
And it's okay if it's not a Chevrolet.
I can say Chevrolet because Daddy too. My daddy is my father's father. We call him Daddy too.
Okay.
Wouldn't have nothing but a Chevrolet.
Okay.
But his brother, all he wanted was a Chevrolet. Uncle Raymond.
Okay.
And he had the Caprice, so we thought he was big time.
Wow.
And that was a big car.
That was what my grandfather drove, was the Caprice.
Yeah. You were,
Oh yeah.
You were what they call, you were the big dog if you had a Caprice. And my dad was the Oldsmobile man.
Okay.
But I did, I liked the Chevy Corvette. Always wanted a Corvette.
Oh yeah.
So I've always been a Chevy man.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I worked at Colonial Honda.
Uh-huh.
I like the Hondas; they're dependable.
Yeah.
And but you know, if I guess if I had an opportunity to just pick a car, which one you want? I think I'd get a Corvette.
The Corvette, I got you. Yes, sir. Well, we got one right over there. We can hook you up.
Okay.
Oh me. Well, Mr. Maclin, thank you so much for being here. This is just, we want to give you just a little token of our appreciation for
Thank you.
being here.
All right.
That's from us to you. Just a little thank you so much for being here.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
and we appreciate you very much for your time and for what you do for our community. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for episode 15 of Community Driven. I hope that you have enjoyed getting to know Mr. Maclin, and I think the thing that stood out to me the most, and the thing that I will remember probably the most is how in our community we have hidden gems that we don't even know about. I mean, we've got a true rock star, a guy who's been a world traveler, who's one of the top 50 creative educators in the world. I mean, this is amazing, right here in Prince George County, and 30 years in 4-H. It's just absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, and thank you for being here and for supporting our community. And please go out and support 4-H and Mr. Maclin and all that they do in our community. We will see you next time. Thanks again. Take care, guys.